Rassie Rasmus and the Springboks have just announced a 23-man side to take on Argentina this weekend. We thought it was going to be a little bit of a mix and a match team, trying to gain some guys' experience, throwing some guys into the deep end. The Springboks have made 10 changes. We're going to be discussing it all in this video. As always, leave your opinions down in the comments. Leave this video a like and absolutely mur that subscribe button. Now, let's get into this lineup. Now, starting in the front row, I thought Ox and Malcolm Marx were probably going to start on the bench, and we were going to see someone like a Jan-Hendrik Wessels and a Johan Grobler in that 1 and 2 top, just to give them a little bit more game time and experience. But if you ever look at a player like Malcolm Marx, he hasn't had that many starts in this season for the Springboks because he came back from that injury. So in my opinion, it is quite a clever move to give him that start, give him about 50 to 60 minutes and really see him start again, because we know that Bongi Mbonambe starts and then Malcolm Marx comes off of the bench. Obviously, players want to start a game, so I think this is a good opportunity for Malcolm Marx to get those valuable minutes under his belt. Then into the two props, Oxenchur and Thomas du Toit. Ox, I mean, he's just been so pivotal for the Springboks this season, winning so many scrum penalties. Again, you could have argued that someone like Jan-Hendrik Wessels or Gerrit Steenkamp or Vincent Koch could have started, but Ox is almost that insurance policy up front to make sure that we get a good start, get those penalties, and sort of move forward into Argentina's territory. And then Thomas du Toit, I thought he needed a start here. They've left him out in a couple of test matches, and the season that he had for Bath and then moving into the Springbok season, I knew we were going to see him at some points, and I'm glad we are seeing him here and that he's starting. Then into those lock positions. Now, this has always been a little bit of a talking point this season just because of our lack of lock options, because of all the injuries. So we kind of knew that Salman Murat was going to start and captain the Springboks, so no surprise there. Then we had to pair him up with either Eben Etzebeth or Ruan Nokia. I love that they've paired him up with Ruan Nokia, because he sort of seemed to come into his own in the last couple of test matches, just because I think that number 5 jersey is a very difficult role to play in the Springbok side, because you have to control the lineouts, you have to call the right calls. And yes, he made a couple of mistakes coming in, but I think the more time we give him in that number 5 jersey, the better he's going to get in that Springbok top. Now, Salman Murat and Ruan Nokia are going to have massive games. We do have the insurance policy of Eben Etzebeth on the bench, who's going to be equaling Victor Matfield's record of 127 caps for the Springboks, which is something truly remarkable. Then moving in to the loose forward positions, not much surprise here. Obviously, Siya Kolisi is going with the team to Argentina, and I didn't think he was going to play. I thought maybe he'll come off the bench, but he hasn't been added into the starting 23-man side, so he's just going there as the captain of the squad, helping them out. But Mark van Staden in that number 6 jersey was the replacement for Siya Kolisi if Siya wasn't starting. Ben Jason Dixon, although he didn't have a great game against New Zealand at Ellis Park, I'm glad to see him back in there, because he is somewhat of a Pieter-Steph du Toit replacement. And as we know, Pieter-Steph du Toit wasn't included in the 28-man side for Argentina. So Ben Jason Dixon was definitely the front runner there. Again, he could maybe pivot to lock as well if need be. He's very much a Pieter-Steph du Toit-esque mold of a player. So I think he can play that 7 role very, very well, but he can slot into those lock positions if need be. Then I think around this whole lineup, there was that conversation of who's going to play 8. We've got Ulrich Loh, we've got Kwagga Smith, and we've got Jasper Visser. Now, Kwagga has been phenomenal coming off of the bench. I think Ulrich Loh has been pretty good, especially coming off of the bench, but he had a very good game against Portugal and then into Australia. I think the call to go with Jasper Visser is just to give Jasper some more game time, right? He had that ban. He didn't start or come off the bench for any of the games, and I think this is another good opportunity for him to get more game time. We know that Rassie is building 2 to 3 squads, probably leaning further to 3 squads. So if you look at every single position, there's almost three or more players that could start for the Springboks, and this is the perfect case. Jasper Visser, Ulrich Loh, and Kwagga Smith. And then we're not even talking about the Cameron Honeycombs, the Pepsi Buthelezis, and Mpilo Gumedes of the world. So just getting Jasper a little bit more game time is very, very crucial, leading in especially to those November tests in the UK. Then moving into the back line. Now, when I first saw the squad and we saw Manie Libbok and Handré Pollard, as well as Cobus Reinach, Grant Williams, and Jaden Hendrickse, I really did think that Manie Libbok was going to start in that number 10 jersey. I think I think that was the plan. I think it got changed when Grant Williams got knocked and he was ruled out and Morne van den Berg took his spot, because I think they really see the combination of Kobus Reinach and Handré Pollard as a set combination, and they see a Grant Williams or a Sasha or a Grant Williams and a Marnie as a set combination. So I think because Grant was ruled out, that is why Marnie Lebok isn't starting. I think if Grant was playing, he would have started, and I do think Marnie would have started in that number 10 jersey. But we've got Kobus Reinach and Handré Pollard, experience on experience on experience. So I don't think we need to talk too much about that. We've seen that Rassie loves that combination. And Pollard's going to control the game. Kobus Reinach is super dangerous. And it's gonna be interesting to see how Handré Pollard plays against Argentina with the Tony Brown system, or what the Springboks will implement against Argentina in this game. Then into the center pairing, Lukhanyo and JC Kriel, and we called this going into this game. Lukhanyo looked very good in that 12-13 channel against Portugal, and he looked very good against Australia. So I love Lukhanyo in that number 12 jersey. We definitely had to lessen Damien de Lende's load just because he's been playing so much rugby and he's been playing so much good rugby. And then Jesse Kriel in that number 13 jersey has been absolutely phenomenal. I mean, you've got two guys there who've been fighting for that 13 jersey for 4 to 5 years, and to see them both on the pitch is going to be something truly, truly special. And they're also two very good defensive players. Lukhanyo in that 12 channel and Jesse Kriel in that 13 channel is going to be very, very difficult to get through. Then the wings, no surprise there, Mapimpi and Kurtley Arendse. Kurtley Arendse has been absolutely phenomenal. Makazole Mapimpi doesn't have a bad game in a Springbok top. And then 15, good to see Apelele Fassi back. I thought he was phenomenal at Ellis Park. I thought he was unfortunate to miss out in that Cape Town test. And I think he's just getting better and better and better with every single appearance that he makes. And I think he's going to be given a little bit more reign in this test against Argentina. Now, I'm saying that, but we can't underestimate Argentina. We saw what they did to the All Blacks. Obviously, the Springboks are wanting to win all 6 games in the Rugby Championship here and really make a mark. But I do think they're going to give him some reins to really play the rugby that Fassi is very, very good at playing. Then into the bench, a 6-2 split. I don't think we expected too much else from that. I'm just a little bit surprised about the bench and how they've gone about it, because I thought they were going to start the very inexperienced players and then sort of have that insurance policy like we did against Australia. But we've kind of gone half insurance policy, half not insurance policy, if that makes sense. We got Jan-Hendrik Wessels, Gerrit Steenkamp, and Vincent Koch. Now, this is very interesting because this tells me that Jan-Hendrik Wessels is going to be playing hooker, which means he's going to come on for Malcolm Marx. Gerrit Steenkamp and Vincent Koch are going to be the other 2 props. So this is now Rassie again experimenting. Do we play Jan-Hendrik Wessels in that number 1 jersey, or do we play him in that hooker role? They've said that he's a utility forward, so he should be able to play both positions. So it's going to be interesting to see him play hooker in that second half, especially because for the Bulls, he's not even the first choice hooker. You got Johan Grobler there. So Rassie Rasmus and the coaching staff must see something quite special in Jan-Hendrik Wessels if they're willing to sort of experiment with him at hooker against Argentina away from home. Then obviously Eben Etzebeth, who we touched on, is on the bench. And then you got Ulrich Lowe and Kwagga Smith. So again, that number 8 jersey comes into question. I do think Ulrich Lowe will probably slot into that number 8 jersey. Kwagga Smith will fall somewhere on the side of the scrum, whether it be 7 or 6. And then Ben Jason Dixon could move to lock if need be. But I would suspect Ruan Nokia stays on, Eben Etzebeth comes on for Salman Murat, and Ben Jason Dixon finishes the game in that number 7 jersey. Then the 2 backs, Jaden Hendrickse and Marnie Lebok, which again I think emphasizes that point that Marnie Lebok probably was the first choice coming into this game, but with the injury of Grant Williams, that kind of changed things up a bit. And as we can see, Jaden Hendrickse and Grant Williams, while they are similar, they do complement each other, and I do think Jaden Hendrickse complements Marnie Lebok's game more than that of Kobus Reinach. So I think when Marnie comes off, Pollard will probably shift into 12, Lukhanyo will probably shift to 13, Jesse might even go off just to lighten his workload, but if there are any injuries, Jesse can move to wing. So I think a very well-balanced side. The question was, how many changes are we going to make? How many young guys are we going to throw in there? We've sprinkled a couple of young guys in, and then we've sprinkled them in on the bench. So not all guns blazing and trying to experiment. There is obviously some very, very good thought that has gone into this team, because we are trying to win the Rugby Championship and we are trying to win 6 out of 6. Let me know what you guys think about the team. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, leave this video a like, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy. Peace.